Welcome to the Live Loving live stream with John Davis. Well, hello, my friends, and welcome to the Live Loving live stream. It is so good to be back. It's been an eventful couple of weeks. First of all, a quick update. First of all, thank you all, actually, for being so gracious about letting me miss the last live stream when my good friend Holly's house was hit by a falling tree because of a tornado. A quick update: Holly is doing great. She still got a little bit of emotional stuff going through because that tree almost hit her. It was only several feet away from where she was in that bathroom, but she is doing well. The fundraiser, we started with a goal of 5,000. We ended up giving her over 10. She's been able to move into her sister-in-law's mother's house for a time, and they've already gone over, cut the tree down, cut it up, chopped it up, and they're starting construction on the house this week. That's how fast they're doing this. So if everything goes well, she'll be back in the house probably within 6 months or so. But she's very excited to get back into her house. So thank you all for all of the kind words and the donations sent to her, and thank you for coming when I called. I really appreciate you in her time of need and in my time of request. So thank you so very much. I had a great Wednesday night, and I wanted to share something about my great Wednesday night. I worked all day, and at the end of the day, I was like, I had done some great work all day. I was feeling like I really affected people's lives, and I was going in the other room, and I remembered I had this friend named Marcy, and Marcy has this wonderful community where people come together and have this open forum to talk spirituality without any judgment, without any arguments, just laughter, joking, smiling, and just open conversation. And I know a lot of people in the spiritual community, especially, are looking for community. I would like to highly suggest that you sign up for Marcy's Patreon group because it is a lovely time, and people come in. We just whatever you want to talk about, you talk about. Marcy does readings and things. It was really just a lovely time, and every so often I pop in too. So if you're looking for a great place to go have community, that's a great place to find that. So you can probably find out a lot about that from Marcy. Spirit made me do it. You can see her little smiling face over there in the chat board, and she's the administrator. So, and be good, or she'll do kicking you out stuff, right? Also wanted to say hello to my sister Patty is in the house. So guys, my sister's in the house, so be good. It's a pleasure. Let me jump over to the comment section and see who's all here so I can say hi to everybody. June McLaughlin. I'm going to answer her quick question real quick because I saw it and made me smile because the second I read it, I knew exactly how I'd answer it. Question is, are Jesus and God the same person? Yes. And so are you and God. And me and God, and Marcy and God, and Patty and God, and Larry and God, and Iron Firehorse and God, and Sarah and God. We're all one in the source. We're all one in God. And that's what Jeshua's teaching was, is that we're all one in this divinity. The Father and I are one. And that's the greatest answer I could give to this question, because that's the secret to everything I teach, is that you are one with God and you co-create with the source. And so, I just wanted to answer that real quick. Let me jump over and see what else we got here going on. And yes, everyone, if you do have questions, please do, as Marcy has instructed, the wise Marcy has instructed. Please place them all caps so I can spot them quickly and not have to hunt. That would be lovely. Somebody was asking what time the post is. Pacific time. It's what's that? 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock now. So there you go. Hi, Becky, Maria. How are you? So happy that you're catching a live as well. Woohoo! Jonesy, welcome. Zipping down. It's either Jan or Jan, depending on where you are in the world. Usually, you don't have, there are no members here. Everything's completely open. If you want to chat, you just jump right in there and chat. No problem. Knife Nut. I used to make knives and swords too. Happy Friday, Joni. I'm just trying to get down to the bottom of this. Julia, hello. Larry, I said. Sarah, I said. Okay, I think I'm almost at the bottom here. Okay, great. So, like I said, it's been an amazing week, and I'm just very excited. Jan, I'm going to put this up here real quick. Because my husband's diagnosed with cancer. This to you has been a blessing. I know you came to me at this time. So let's talk about your husband. And I'm going to tell you a couple of quick stories. I have a lot of very weird, very weird friends. I have a friend who is a professional clown who does a dog act with her husband, who's a professional clown. And she, with about 6 months ago, was diagnosed with a cancerous tumor in her heart. And she asked for prayers, and I immediately jumped on because I've known her for years. And I sent her my self-healing meditation. I sent her my healing workshop, and then I got on the phone with her and talked to her, and I kind of brought her back to saying, listen, you're the creator. You get to create whatever you want. And when we started talking and we started doing it, and then I started watching her Facebook pages. And every day her Facebook page was filled with, I am so blessed that I'm living such a joyful and having perfect health. And every day she was putting these wonderful, exciting things, but the things she was doing, walking the dogs, all these things. It was now about 2 or 3 weeks ago. She went back to the doctor. The doctor was doing the final tests before they were going to go in and cut her heart open and remove this tumor. And the doctor come walking in with a puzzled look on his face, and she says, what's the matter? He says, there's no tumor. It's just gone. And he said, I don't understand how this could happen. The doctor could not understand it. I totally knew why. I totally knew how. Our health is exactly that. I used to make a lot of swords, and many of those swords were aluminum. And I did a bunch for Cirque du Soleil, and I had a diagnosis of spots all through my lungs. And I told that doctor, I said, okay, and when I come back, we'll do that test again, and we'll find out in 3 months. And when I came back, they said, there's nothing alarming in my lungs. So I was like, well, there you go. Cancer and any ailment whatsoever, it's just a matter of you making the choice of receiving perfect health and creating that in your life. I'm going to share a healing story that happened in the past couple of days, which I may not have told you. I found out the results of it today. I was working with a woman who had, a few months ago maybe, had her leg amputated. And she was terrified to try to walk, always afraid of falling. She was about 10, 15 years older than me, so so she was ancient, right? And she was afraid of falling, and she wanted to travel, but she thought she could never travel again because of her leg. And she says, I go to the physical therapy, and I get up out of my car, and I'm terrified to close the car door because I'm going to fall. And then I try to get into the building, and they run out with a wheelchair, and they help me into the house, into the physical therapy with a wheelchair. She says, I'm just terrified I'm going to fall. And I talked to her, and I said, how about we change that belief? And I made her laugh. And one of her things was that she really loved the Beatles, and so much so that she's been to so many Paul McCartney concerts that he actually recognizes her face now. And I said, how about the next time you go to physical therapy and you get there, you get out of your car and you go, I am closing this door confidently, and I am striding into that office like there is no tomorrow. And when I get inside there, those people are going to compliment me on how good I look walking in. And I got an email today. She went to her physical therapy She got out of her car. She closed the door confidently. She strode into the place. They're like, "You look great today." And then she went into her actual physical therapy where they make her walk 300 feet. And I said to her in that moment, I said, "What's your favorite Beatles song?" She says, "She Loves Me." I said, "All right, so when you do that 300 feet, I want you to just, in your head, I want you to feel she loves me. She loves me, yeah, yeah, yeah. And just walk that." The physical therapist, the receptionist, they were blown away at the difference from 1 week earlier, that she had just literally completely changed. And it was in the course of a day that it had happened. The day before, she was a mess. But it was really coming down to her taking that choice, taking that I am striding in. And if your husband wants to break free of cancer, it's just as easy as saying, "I am, thank you for the perfect health I am receiving," and then just put that into action. I just wanted to share that. I'm going to jump over and see what I'm hearing things popping up, so I don't miss it. Well, hello, Millie. Did you bring vanilla with you? Sorry. I'm sure you hear that stuff all the time. That's a dad joke, if there ever was one. Hello, South Florida. There you go, Millie. Judy, we're happy to have you here. Chris Class, welcome to your first live stream. Sissy, hello. Christine Barrett and Christine. Well, hopefully we'll meet as well. I agree. Hi, John. What makes someone a Christian? Let me swap this one out. Did I delete the other one? Yeah, there you go. What makes someone a Christian? Is that just a label or what? I like the way you asked that. Christian, that's someone who believes in a Christ or a Savior or Messiah. It wasn't really a big thing until after Yeshua had been crucified, because a Christian was someone who believed that a Messiah had come. And Joshua didn't believe he was a Messiah, a Christ, or a Savior. And in fact, that was completely antithetical to his beliefs, because he believed we were all equal, we were all one. And in that oneness of God, setting someone up on a pedestal would literally diminish you. And so to be a Christian, you have to be a follower of Christ, and Christ means anointed one in Greek. And so it is someone who is set up on a pedestal in front of you. So that's where that label comes from. I love that you asked that question. People say he may rest in peace. Does your soul really rest? What happens to your soul after passing? Hope that makes sense. Well, it's funny. People say rest in peace because they're looking at as death as escaping suffering. Like you're in this world that's so hard and so difficult, and they're saying, "Oh, rest now, rest in peace." And being someone who has crossed over 3 separate times, once into my past life regression, there's no need for rest on the other side. You get there, and there's no tired. There's no physical world distress. There's no fear. There's no anxiety. There's no tired. You're just in this pure bliss state and unconditionally loving state. And people say rest in peace to make themselves feel better about how they were viewing the person who has passed away. And in reality, they're the ones the person crossing over should be saying, "You rest in peace." Stop delving into your fears and your anxieties and your grief. I'm fine. You're the one who's away. So that's my thought on that one, Francine. I hope that answers your question clearly. Guitar Nick, how are you? Once again, Georgia's here. Hello, Georgia. Hello, John. This is Joan. My mom's name was Joan. In the 80s, a channeler told me I witnessed the crucifixion. I spent the rest of my days spreading his word. I never knew him personally. They said, "Do you think we could have known each other back then?" First of all, I'll tell you this. I never verify past lives because I don't necessarily know what reincarnation is. I have met over 30 people who think they're Mary Magdalene, and Pauls and Georges and Ringos and all kinds of things. And so I've met multiple people who think they're John, actually. So I don't necessarily fully understand what reincarnation is, because it would be completely hypocritical of me to say they're not, right? So I don't look at reincarnation from the perspective of one soul traveling from life to life to life. I look at it as possibly, potentially, tapping into the oneness of God. In Hinduism, the consciousness of God is the sit, and we're the sit sat ki, which is the individual sparks of consciousness within. And in my personal experience with channeling, you could tap into those individual sparks of consciousness when you didn't feel worthy yourself. So to me, it really is about going into those, reincarnation being something that we don't really fully understand. It's very theoretical. But could you have been there? Absolutely. It really, the only person who can really tell you that is you. I'll tell you that when the first person told me about my past life, the weirdest thing for me was my response, which was, yeah, I did that. I just knew I had done it. And that was a tough thing for me, because I was really trying to fight doing it, because I didn't want to be the guy who thought he was Napoleon. But that discernment, that knowing inside, is the key to whether that's true or not. So let me ask you a question. When they told you that, did you know it was true? And if you knew it was true, then follow that, because that's really your spiritual path, for you to make those kind of decisions. So I hope that doesn't upset you or make you feel like I've let you down with not telling you one way or another. But yeah, that's I think if it feels right to you, follow it. Jenny Brown's in the house. Understanding that we are all expressions of God's source. Is source sentient or omniscient? Well, you would have to be omniscient, because he knows everything you know, I know, and my Aunt Tilly knows, even though I don't really have an Aunt Tilly, right? It knows everything. It knows, and the interesting thing is when you cross over, you know everything, because you're one with that source. So putting it into the physical terms of a separate God source is really looking at it from a physical term. When there is no physical over there, it is literally just you're just in that consciousness, knowing it. And what's interesting is here in the physical, we strive to come to know that external God, and it's only until we get still and realize that God is there all the time that you really start to have your transcendental experiences. So I hope that answers that question for you. Let me jump over. Yeah, thank you for using all caps. That was great. Iron Firehorse, I wasn't saying you were looking for a confirmation. I have to say that, because I have to, honest to God, tell you, I see more people, I get more messages every day telling me that they walked with me in a past life. And it really came to the point where I had to make that rule, because, it just is, it's not my place to say. MISSISSIPPI, Mississippi. Hi, Lori. So, oh, good. I'm glad you're not let down. Does it help to pray for a pet that is sick? Can animals be healed? I have a friend named Holly whose house got hit by a tornado recently, who does animal Reiki at distance, and her clients are always amazed how their animals run around. And Jenny Brown, what do you think of Holly's work? Because I know she's done some work with yours, but yeah, the intention always works. And animals speak in the higher self. You can talk to them in a higher form. So just think, I'm are you ready to be healed? Are you ready to release this? And yeah, absolutely. In fact, my friend who I just told you about with the clown with the dog act, Holly works on her dogs all the time, which I just love. Da, 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 da. What do I think about the Course in Miracles? I did a whole video on the Course in Miracles. I'll just kind of give you the Reader's Digest version of what the Reader's Digest version of a Course in Miracles. It's sort of a strange thing. You'll notice when you watch my channel, everything I talk about is simplicity. It's about coming back to that very simple place. In my regression, it was literally said, it's so simple we have a hard time comprehending it. When I look at the Course in Miracles, the message in it is very simple. It's a very, very simple message, but it takes a year to say it. So my general take on the Course in Miracles is that the information is coming from truth, coming from source, and it's being funneled through the filters of the channel. Every channel that you'll ever hear is bringing it through their own filter. If you read Edgar Casey's stuff, it's filled with heavily Christian imagery because he was heavily Christian. Any channel you talk to is actually, or even psychic medium, or even just gifted psychic or intuitive, they're bringing it through their own filter no matter what, and it comes down to the point where they have to learn how to step aside as much as possible. But there's always themselves in it. So, do I think Jeshua wrote the Course in Miracles? I think the concept of Jeshua is an interesting one because I think that he's in the oneness of God, as are you and I. I think the teachings of the oneness are pretty much in there, but I don't think it would ever have been taught the way it's being taught in the Course in Miracles, because he was all about present moment, and that's a year of present moments, yes, but I think he would have brought it about a little quicker. But maybe it's there for the people who can't do it quicker. So there's my really wishy-washy answer for you. Sorry. Sorry, Becca. Oh, I love this, Jonesy. Oh, look at you. Well done, Jonesy. Well done. That's you stepping into your power. That look at the goosebumps rising. Look at the goosebumps rising. You're making me feel great because it's like you stepped in. I love when someone steps into their power and realizes they're a creator and they get to do that kind of work. Thank you for stepping into your power, because you're part of the oneness of God with all of us. And when you step into power, everybody around you gets empowered too. So I love that. How often do I do OBEs? Do they happen accidentally also? Great. It's a great question, Richard, and thank you for being here. I actually don't even actively go to do them anymore. I used to actively lay in bed and work my way out of body and then go into astral travel as well. I don't really feel the need anymore, but I still have these moments, and some of you may relate to this. The alarm goes off because sometimes you have to wake up earlier than you normally would. And the alarm goes off, and I reach over and I'm trying to turn the alarm clock off, and then I realized I forgot to take my arm. And my astral arm was over there trying to turn off the alarm clock, and my other arm was, and I literally have to come back and pick up my other arm and go. So I still have that sort of out of body phasing like that, but I don't actively do that out of body work anymore because I really just don't feel the need. I really love being here in the present and watching people smile and watching people, smile back at me when I smile at them, or I hold a door for them, or make them laugh. That to me, one of the greatest things in the world is to say something that makes someone laugh, because I know that when they laugh, they're releasing all their fears and their anxieties. That to me is better than an out of body experience. So, because it affects somebody else, other than just myself doing those astral travels on my own. So I hope that answers your question there, Richard. I want to remind everybody, please put your questions in all caps, because it makes it much, much easier for me. and it's all about me. Amanda, have you ever contacted a deceased loved one? Well, I'm writing a book right now called The Recovering Catholics' Guide to Spirituality. And there are times when I write that book, I feel my mother's snarky sense of humor. And I know she's right there with me. There are times where suddenly in my head, I'll think of my friend Bill, who passed away many years ago. Bill used to play Henry VIII. He was 6'8" and 550 pounds. And when Bill would see me, he would grab me and envelop me into a hug. Now, I'm a big guy. I'm 6'1", well over 200 pounds, so well over 200 pounds. And Bill would walk up to me and pull me into a hug, and my face would hit his chest. And there are times when Bill will pop into my mind, and I'll feel his face hit my chest. I had my cousin Carlos come and visit me when I lived in Rehoboth Beach in my mom's house, and he literally had me deliver a message to his mother. He literally said, "You need to tell my mom that I'm in a better place." And the next morning, my mom was at church and my father was at his church, the golf course, and I walked out in the kitchen and my aunt was sitting at the kitchen table, and I made a cup of coffee because that's what you do. And I sat down and I said, "How do you broach this subject?" And I said, "Do you believe in auras?" And we started just talking about auras, and she told me a pretty big metaphysical story that she had happened to her in Peru, which is a really amazing story, actually. And I said, "Well, I just wanted to tell you because I saw an aura in my room last night, and it was Carlos." And before I could say anything else, she said, "Is he in a better place?" So she actually asked the question he was answering. So have I connected to them on the other side? Yes. I'll tell you something else. Somebody else I've connected to on the other side. My dog Odin. I had a 110-pound Rottweiler who was the biggest lap dog in the world. And he shows up in very visceral dreams. And it's always the same dream. I go to someone's home and he's there. And I look at him and I'm like, "You're alive?" And when I leave the home, I take him with me. But I can feel the licking on my face and the wiggling 110-pound dog in front of me. So I know my dog visits me too. So, yes. Have I connected with people on the other side? Yes, I have. Oh, and also, when I do my private sessions, there are times when I do my channel writing, that information will come through from their deceased people, and it's not something I do every day. I don't consider myself a medium. I had one just the other day who the message I got started with the word pumpkin, and so when I started reading the word pumpkin, she was like, "My dad called me pumpkin," and I had no idea why I was saying pumpkin. So I get messages from the dead for people sometimes as well. So I hope that that helps you. Let's see what else we got here. The heart of the universe is within us all. What meditations are safe? And is there anything we should be wary of? Your entire question is based on fear. The secret to enlightenment is the eradication of fear. Meditations are just meditations. They're just tools. I actually don't use the word meditation for what I do. I call it sitting in love. I just sit in the feeling of love. But your entire question is based upon thinking about safety means you're worried about something. Being wary of something means you're worried about something, means you're afraid of something. There's no need to be afraid of anything. The world is your creation. So don't create fearfully. Create joyfully and lovingly, and you'll have a loving world. There's nothing to be afraid of. I have been on the front lines of Iraq and Afghanistan. I had an RPG fly under the helicopter I was in and blow up the Humvee that I ate lunch in. And I wasn't even afraid then. There's no need to be afraid. If you're not afraid, nothing's going to happen to you. Second, you're afraid is when you have the fearful things. That story I told earlier, the reason that woman with the prosthetic leg was having such issues with the door and getting into the building was because of her fears. What I did was help her set her fears aside. And then she strode into that office and walked to "She loves me, yeah, yeah, yeah," because there's no fear in that. I hope that answers your question. And I'm not sure even sure how to pronounce your name, but it's a cool looking name. um, can a healer absorb another's conditions or illnesses or unknowingly? Only if the healer believes. First of all, let me go back. There are no healers. There's only healing facilitators. All healing is done through the belief of the person being healed. Jeshua himself says it's your faith that heals you. So you can come there with loving intention. You can come there with your tools of belief of what you're doing, but it's their belief in what you're doing that makes them healed. I one time was doing a healing with a woman, helping her overcome something that I didn't even know what she had. Come to find out, she had been given 6 weeks to live with cancer. And I told the story on here, on one of the videos, or even possibly on one of the live streams. And I got a message saying, how do you clear that stuff out of you? How do all the very fearful things? And I said, I don't clear anything out of me. I don't believe it sticks to me. Right? And just in that's the simplicity of your creation. What you believe is what's happening. If you believe you'll get sick from somebody, you'll get sick from somebody. Even the concept of unknowingly, that's uncertainty. What is fear? Fear is just negatively focused uncertainty. This whole comment is based upon the idea of absorbing conditions. Mother Teresa said she'd never go to an anti-war rally, but if she had a pro-peace rally, she'd come. Focusing on absorbing conditions is focusing on and asking how to remove them, right? That's anti-war. I'm in perfect health. That's pro-peace. Or I don't hold anything on, right? It doesn't even come to my mind that it would possibly ever stick to me because I just don't believe it does. And let me just say this. Iron Fire Horse, great cool name. That's Jeshua's message too. The simplicity was what Jeshua taught. Man is who made it complex. Religion's made it complex. And the more the line that I remember from the regressions, when you seek a path is laid before you, but until you turn the path back to yourself, you never find the doorway. The paths are the religion. The paths are the spiritual dogmas. The paths are the old age dogmas. The paths are the new age dogmas. All of those things are just sojourns of the mind away from yourself. And when you seek a path, you'll create a path, but that path will have you wandering in the wilderness until there's nothing more in that path you can explore. Then you're going to start to look for another path. But you have to turn the path back to yourself and come back to that stillness within to find your oneness with God so that you can then step into your power and create. I hope that answers that one. And thank you. I love my message too, because it's his. I'm just a plagiarist. How do we best stay in the present moment? This is great. The best stay in the present moment is to start to pay attention to what you're thinking. Are you thinking about how bad things were? Are you saying things like want, need, hope, try, wish, which is the belief in lack because of your past experience, right? It's a matter of really paying attention to what you're saying about your present moment. And when you start to realize what you're saying about your present moment is based on a different timeline, then you can change those words, change those beliefs, and then what happens is you start getting very present. I found, for me personally, it was really good to say that was that part of my life. Something could happen yesterday. Well, that was that part of my life, but now I am doing this. Redirecting back to your I am, not I was or your I will be's. I am. I am this. I am suffering will give you suffering. I am joyfully receiving will give you that. I am happily walking through the world, spreading smiles to everyone. Beautiful, right? It really comes down to I am. What are you saying after I am? And the more you can get your I am to be not only present moment in statement, but in action, then your present moment. I hope that answers that question for you, Maria. Clicking on. The only way to contact me via email is to actually just go on my website and use my contact form on my website. But let me say this. I get people probably 30 or 40 a day who want to have private email exchanges with me. I can't. I don't have the time. There's 1,100 videos on my channel. There's one that comes out every day. There's usually a weekly or bi-weekly one on the other channel. I'm doing 4 days a week of 12 to 14-hour days doing private sessions. So I'm working between 60, 80 to 90 hours a week. I just don't have the time to deal with all those emails and all those. I also, on top of the ones who want to have email exchanges with me, I also get the ones who desperately want me to feel they need to talk to me now. I get 20 or 30 of them a day. It makes me feel bad. As an empathic person, I really feel for them. But I can't start doing that because then I'd have no hours. I'd have nothing. I'd have no time for myself, no time to breathe. And I'd get sick. And my empathic nature wants me to help. It wants me to serve. And I'm no good to anybody if I'm sick. I'm no good to anybody if I've diminished my own power. I've got to keep the balance of love for others and myself balanced. I have to keep it in check, or all of this will end, and I'm not willing to end it that way. So you contact me through the contact form, and I get to as many as I can. But I can't begin an email like back and forth emails like that because I just don't have the time. So I hope that doesn't hurt your feelings, but unfortunately that's the way it is. Somebody's name is Blank Wall. I like that. I'm a blank wall. You can write all over me. Well, welcome to you, Easy Travels, and I'm glad you found us. Sit and loved, absolutely. And guys, Maria, I see you say here that you found me through Alex. The 19th of this month, I am recording a second session with Alex, which will be going up probably 6 or 8 weeks after that. So yeah, keep an eye out for that, for another conversation with me and Alex. I'm really kind of excited about it because I really like the guy. Speaking of simplicity, why do you believe that an I am statement is so simply powerful? Moses said to the burning bush, "What's your name?" It said, "I am." The Bible says, "Be still and know that I am God." There's nothing in the past in I am. There's nothing in the future in I am. And you only live in one present moment. The future is just a place where you set goals. But when you actually achieve those goals, it's going to be in your present moment. The past is just a collection of your present moment memories. The only moment you're ever conscious is your I am moment. And the more you come to the conscious creation of I am, then you get everything you want in life. I said, thank you, God, for the world travel I am receiving. Amen. I've been to 30 countries and I paid to go to one, right? I get this house I'm sitting in was an I am statement, right? And everything in my life is coming from I am statements. And it really does come back to understanding that whatever you ask in God's name is granted if you have faith. I have a great faith. But I know that when I say I am, I'm getting it. And so that's why it's so powerful, because it's God's name and you're asking in that name. So that's my thought on that, Larry. Does that answer your question? Hope so. It's good to see you too, Larry. Well, let me tell you something interesting that's been happening with those two videos, the end times and the rapture. I'll read it so those of you can't read it. John, I love the video you did on end times and the rapture. Why do you think there are so many people wanting to believe in end times now? So many channels out there talking about ascension. Because fear sells. That's why the news is always so fearful. That's why when the Maui fires happened, the story on the news was, it's terrible down at the site, there's all these people showing up and they're overwhelming the officers who are out there. And they're like, well, what are they doing? What's are they looting? No, they're showing up with food and clothing and shelter and camping equipment. And they're bringing all the supply. People went shopping for the people who lost everything, and that's really was a beautiful thing. But on the news, it had to be bad, right? Thank you guys for the super chats. They are the things that keep my roof over my head while I do all this work. So I truly do appreciate them. They really do help. All of my money comes from what you see on YouTube and my private sessions. So I totally appreciate it. So let me jump over again. Oh, so back to the end times and rapture. One of the things that's interesting about those videos is people will argue with me, and they'll fight with me. And the rapture one makes me laugh when they argue with me. And I responded to someone today. He was really trying to prove to me, and every time he keep pulling out quotes from the Bible. And he said, well, this is the rapture. I said, where's it say the rapture? And every time you pull one up, it didn't say the rapture. It was just a line that he was trying to create as proof of the rapture. And finally I said to him, can I ask you a question? I said, isn't it really silly that you're trying to convince me? Because what if I do believe you and I take one of the 144,000 seats on the rapture ride and take your seat? You're just lowering your opportunity to actually get there. So, which I thought was a brilliant answer. So I don't think I'll hear from him again, which is fine. But I think people they're just fearful, and it's like I said, it sells. What I liked about I really enjoyed doing the chipmunk voice by speeding up the video on the end times, because I just think it made it really seem ridiculous. So thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed those videos. I am that I am. Well, thank you, Sonny. It's been an interesting explosion lately. We're slowly clicking up towards close to 12,000, and last March I was at 4,000, so we're doing pretty well. Jenny Brown, I hate to say this, I do not understand this message, so you might have to. Hi, John. I'm assuming that's John. Do you think Deasley? I have no idea what you mean, Jen. Write it again. Sorry. This one is an interesting. I get this all the time. Yahweh is the Judaic God, right? I don't have memory of him using that word ever, but I don't have him really having used the word God either, right? One with Father was what they probably would have said in the time, because it was a patriarchal time. But yeah, I don't remember him ever. And right now everybody's talking about the Yahweh being an alien and all kinds of things like that. There's so many of those kind of stories. Yeah, it was not something he talked about. So that's my answer to that one. Jumping down. Huh. What do I do when I get depressed? It's been so long. There are days I get down a little, right? Honest to God, it's very, very, very rare. And usually when I get down, I'm like, why am I doing that? I'm just as human as everybody else, but it's just a matter of understanding that when you don't feel good, when you feel depressed or down, I'm the creator of my experience. I'm not doing that. I am joyfully creating. I just redirect. That's what I do, because it's my choice. I get to be mad, sad, frustrated, angry, or joyful, happy, and loving. One of them feels good, the other one sucks. So I don't like to live in sucks. I live in joy. So anyway, that's my thought on that. Um, oh, Joni. Ha ha ha. I have helped more people quit smoking than you could possibly know. And I'm going to tell you exactly why and how. All addiction is medicating fear. Let me give you an example. I'm addicted to coffee, right? I'm not really addicted to coffee, but I'm just going to use it as an example. So let's say I was an alcoholic and this was an alcoholic beverage, right? I'd be like this. I need a drink. I need a drink. I need a drink. And then I'd go like this. And I'd allow myself to exhale. Smoking a cigarette. I take my cigarette. I need a cigarette. I need a cigarette. I need a cigarette. And I allow myself to exhale. I need a slice of pizza. I need a slice of pizza. I need a slice of pizza. Oh, it feels so good. That fear that is being medicated, all fear is released through the exhale. All fear is released through the exhale. Actors are on Broadway in front of 1,000 people, forget their lines and get afraid. They're literally trained to exhale, relax all their muscles, and all their lines come right back into their heads because they shut off the primal fear response. What happens with addictions like cigarettes or drinking or pizza is the people start to associate the substance with the feeling of the exhale. So the next time you want to have a cigarette, go outside and actively have an exhaling break. Even if you have to put your finger in your mouth or whatever, do that, the gestures, that doesn't really matter. What you're looking for is that feeling. And just allow yourself to let. What happens with addictions is they use the substance as the thing that allows them to exhale. Bypass the substance and just exhale. Release the fears and the anxieties. And you'll find out very quickly that you don't need the cigarettes. I hope that answers your question, Joni. I'm going to jump over here. Lots of things popping up. Your dad was a sergeant, MP. Well, let me tell you, I am a fan of the people who volunteer to go anywhere in the world to defend people. I think that's a noble and wonderful thing, and that's one of the reasons why I did 6 USO tours. And so, thank your dad for his service if he's still with us, and if not, thank him on the other side for me. Dad called you pumpkin too. Great. I understand, Paul. Let me see if I can read this up here. Affliction. Are you talking about the Apostle Paul? I think Paul's major affliction was his own ego. He was so aware of himself and what his own self-importance. That's just my opinion on that one. He was a Pharisee. If you're talking about St. Paul, he was a Pharisee who was laying out the laws and literally said that women couldn't be in the church with men, and priests had to be celibate, and all kinds of just really unnatural things that really harmed the world in major ways. And so I'm not really sure what the mental affliction is you're talking about. So I don't have a memory of that in my memory. So let me keep going here. And this is true right here. As soon as you turn back into the fear, you get sick immediately. Fear is the root of all ailment. Fear is the root of all ailment. The Buddha said the secret to enlightenment is the eradication of fear. The Sufis say that our life is a struggle against the veil, and the veil is our fear. Releasing the fear is what really takes you to the next level. And the only way you can release fear is in the present moment, because fear is rooted in either past experience or a future impending event that you've chosen to focus about a negative outcome of. It's not rooted in your present moment. When you release that fear and you come firmly into the present, into the I am moment, you suddenly start to realize that you have more control of your life than you ever have. And it's a matter of I am a creator. I am joyfully creating. I am happily creating, and putting that feeling in this space. But the second you fall back into fear, things turn on you. But when you start to fall back into fear, it's those moments that you say, no, I'm not doing that. I am joyful, and you negate and redirect. In fact, give yourself permission to think it's silly and laugh at it. No, I ain't doing that. I'm doing this. Laughter is nothing but a joyful exhale. That's you releasing the fear associated with that thought. You laugh at it. No, I am powerful. I am doing this. And you redirect. And now you've created two positive moments, the laughter moment and the redirection moment, which are getting dropped into your subconscious belief, which is changing your subconscious mind, which pushes your fear further and further away from you. So that's my thought on that. Demons do not exist. Neither does Satan. Satanas in Hebrew, the Hebrew was meant the word accuser, and it also meant temptation. And in Jeshua's meaning, it was your own personal temptations. And demons were when translated, demonis means lesser evil, right? It doesn't mean the concept of demons. People who believe in demons will experience demons. People who believe in hell, when they cross over in their near-death experience, they experience hell. And then they transition past that, and they somehow come to realize there is no hell. But all of the concept of demons and Satan and the levels of hell and all that didn't exist until the 1300s when Dante wrote his Inferno. And the Catholic Church said that's the great model for our hell. And then they started preaching it that way. But before that, it did not exist. So casting out demons is not about an evil entity inside of you, because there is no evil entity inside of you. The only thing that's inside of you is your temptation, your own fears and anxieties that make you feel like you've done bad things, and your self-worth and your self-doubt. But what is the biggest propagator of self-worth, lack of self-worth and self-doubt? Religion. Because they tell you you're a wretch. They tell you you're born in sin. They tell you you're guilty of killing their messiahs and saviors. And in reality, none of it's true. You're here to experience love by playing with its absence. And I say that specifically. You have those moments in life that are hard. Feeling that absence of love in those moments, when you experience love again, it'll be so much more rich because you experience that moment. You're here to feel the baseline. You're here to feel that opposite. You're here to experience that life that doesn't feel so loving, so that when you come to know who your true nature is again, your oneness with God again, that you can experience it fully. And when you experience it fully, you'll come to understand and realize that you are one with that God, and you are that expression of God, and there is nothing evil in you. It's just thought. It's just belief. And those beliefs manifest into the experience, because the illusion of the world is the illusion of your belief. When you speak your words, your thoughts, it goes out to the source, and that source shows you your belief around you. In the beginning is the Word was with God, and the Word was God. It literally comes out of you and expresses back to you exactly what you believe. If you believe in demons, you're going to see demons. If you believe in hell, you're going to see hell. I don't believe in either one of them. I never see them. I've never seen one. And I've seen cool things. I've seen crazy things. I've never seen anything evil, because I just don't believe in them. Other people I know who do believe in them see them. Churches that believe in speaking in tongues, they all speak in tongues. But what's really interesting about that statement is when you talk to them, you say, well, what did you say? I say, I don't know. We were speaking in tongues. They don't understand what tongues is, because in the Bible, tongues is, they understood everybody from all nations. That's what speaking in tongues is, being able to speak and be understood. And when these churches say we speak in tongues, what did you say? Well, it was gibberish. It was speaking in tongues. They believe in speaking in tongues, so they speak gibberish because that's their faith. They believe it's actually taking them over, but it's not actually the speaking in tongues, because if it was, everyone would have understood. So it literally is manifesting from the belief. So that's my thought on that. I hope that answers your questions. Now, what Jeshua did, talking about casting demons out, what he did was he casted their doubts out. He casted their temptations out. He brought them back to the place of whatever you ask in God's name is granted. You can ask mountains to move and it'll move. Nothing's impossible for you. It's your faith that heals you. It's all empowerment. It's never about demons or devils. That's religion talking. And I hope that answers your question. What is the best way to prepare for death? I have stomach cancer and have refused the operation to remove my stomach. Well, Blankwall, do you want to continue to have stomach cancer? I've told a couple of stories tonight about people who've gotten rid of their cancer. Your statement is, I have stomach cancer and I am preparing for death. That leads to stomach cancer and preparing for death. It really comes down to, what do you want? Do you want to die? That's a choice. And I'm not telling you I'm not telling you anything to do. I'm telling you that you are a creator of your experience and you can choose to be healed from things. You can choose. And it's a matter of you stepping into that power. I worked with a man 6 months ago who had Parkinson's. I talked to him again 2 days ago. You couldn't see any symptoms of Parkinson's, right? That lady with the cancer in her heart, that cancer was gone. Go on my testimonial page right now. You'll see a testimonial of a lady who shrank a tumor, and then and I actually I forget her name. I put it up on the community board when she contacted me and was cancer free. That's all choice. It's all you deciding, I am receiving perfect health and going out and living perfect health. Instead of focusing on death, focusing on having stomach cancer, focus on joyfully receiving perfect health, and your life will change. But it's up to you. I mean, my ex-wife's grandmother told everybody that she was 96 years old. And I said to her, I said, Gram, what's the secret to long life? She says, if I stop, I'll die. And every day she would put herself a task. She would task list that had to be done. She would work on the house. She would do these things. And she had an old VHS, and she would take her VHS tape and she'd record her soap opera for the day, and then wasn't allowed to watch TV until 5 because she had her tasks. 5 o'clock, she watched her one soap opera. The last year of her life, her choice was, okay, this is the year I'm going to make sure the house is in my son's name, and all of the things are divided between our kids equally. I'm going to, and she spent a year just making sure everything was ready for her to go. When she moved out of her house, she was dead 3 months later. It was her choice. My father, who, as many of you know, didn't get along with me very much, but the year before he died, he came to me and told me, he says, I'm not going to see next Christmas. And he did see the Christmas, but it didn't come up. He died in Florida. And he made that choice. It's, your choice is your choice. But you don't have to live one in suffering, and you don't have to focus on dying if you don't want to die. That's just my thought on that. So if it was me personally, I wouldn't prepare to die. I'd prepare to live. That's my thought on that. I'm glad you guys like the simple message, because I'm often called a simpleton. Francis, I have one question for you. Let me read your question. Hi, John. I, too, am a recovering Catholic and was severely abused by the church. I have worked hard for healing and am doing fine. How do you deal with the abuse in the church? Here's my one question I want to ask you. How long do you want to work on it? You say, you're working on it. You said, I've worked on it. I'm doing fine. How long do you want to work on it? And how long do you just want to be fine? because those are your present moment beliefs. You can put a period at the end of that chapter tonight, and you can start writing a comedy as opposed to focusing on the abuse of the past. I am joyfully creating a life of happiness and surrounded by people I love who love me in return. That's a much different belief than I am the victim of the church, which is creating the same thing over and over again because all you're doing is focusing on the past and focusing on something that's back there that's not going to change because you can't go back and change history. All you can do is start creating anew. And that is what it means when it says you must become as a child to enter the kingdom of heaven. You must be born again. You've got to set the past down and move forward, choosing to consciously create the joyful life that you want. That's how you break past that. I hope that answers your question. People are chatting tonight. This is great. And thank you all for the super chats. This is just very helpful. It does really help, as I said earlier. Love you too, Eva. Before being told I walked with Jesus, did I have dreams or anything else to allude to your past life with him? I crucified my G.I. Joe in the backyard. Mom was surprised. Walked out and G.I. Joe was on a cross. That was an interesting one. I had imaginary friends as a child named Jimmy Garden. And I often wonder whether it had something to do with Jeshua, with a J like that, or whether it had something to do with Gethsemane. So there were definitely things. My brother Eddie had told me about an out-of-body experience I had as a child. I don't remember it, but he definitely did. I was a little boy in bed, and I was saying, I'm up here. I'm taller than all of you. I'm on the ceiling. He said that I started talking to somebody. He didn't know who I was talking to, and next thing you know, my fever broke, and I was fine. So I was having out-of-body experiences even back then. But I didn't even know those things until much later, really. And then when I was 19, I had a moment where I felt the presence of Yeshua, and it changed me dramatically. Because the day before, I was really racist and homophobic, just like my father was. And that happened, and I didn't have any of those feelings the next day. So I had a true epiphany, which was amazing. But until the actual regression, I didn't have that sort of relationship like that. But yeah, it was amazing. I've lived an amazing life. When I talk about going to 30 countries, I did a comedy sword fighting show all over the world. I was in a movie with Brad Pitt. I worked with the guys from Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Highlander. I mean, I've done so many amazing things in my life, and just because I'm blessed, because I choose to be blessed. I choose to have those cool experiences. And because I choose that, I get them. Because I'm conscious about that choice. Let me jump up here. Boy, you guys are really kicking butt tonight. Thank you for the perfect health you are receiving, however you say your name. I have no idea how to say your name. I'm sorry. But that's the belief you need to take. Not that I have COVID, that I am receiving perfect health. And we can all put that intention out for you. And you know, where two or more are gathered. Thank you for the perfect health you are receiving. Amen. Hi, Thomas Shrout. Love you all. I love you. All of those who not watching, may they find their path in the wilderness of life. That's a great intention. That's good. Take the hands off the wheel and you'll understand. I'm not sure I agree with you on that one, Rob, because I'm happiest when I have my hands on the wheel. I'm making conscious choices, and that's on the wheel. I'm not just letting go and saying whatever comes. But if you believe it's going to be a good thing that comes, then I think that's a good direction. I actually really like directing what I'm doing and where I'm going, and I just think it's fun. I literally treat the world like it's my Amazon.com. Yeah, I am, and just be, but be is also comes with choice. Um, well, thank you, Joan, for that super sticker. That's beautiful. Uh, you are quite welcome. Love, love, love. There you go. I am getting a puppy and I am quitting smoking. Right? Thank you, God, for the perfect lungs I am receiving. Bam. The puppy is a good thing because I have often said to people, when you have a big goal that seems so big, think of some small thing that will happen when the big goal is achieved and focus on the small thing happening because you know that if that small thing happens, the big thing is already achieved. And somebody I was talking to said that their big goal was getting a puppy. When I get this, I'm going to go buy a puppy. And so the puppy was the small thing that they were focused on when the big thing happened, which made them really manifest very quickly. Oh, you like the stealing seats, huh? I liked it too. Made me laugh out loud. Great. Then joyfully live your life right up to the last moment, blank wall. Joyfully live it right up to the last moment. And when you decide to go, my mom came back over and talked to me through a medium, and her response was, "There's no pain, there's no suffering. It's like you're there and then you're here." That's she was saying it from the being on the other side. It's like you're there and then you're here. It's like you're here and then you're there. It's instantaneous. And my experience getting out of body was the same way. It's bam, you're suddenly there. Um, well, yeah, Sonny, if you're talking about subscribers, that was only March. um, well, here's John on the live stream. Hello there, Ian. How are you? Love the name. Uh, Interesting. Yeah, the Greg Graydon stuff's kind of got some interesting things in there. I sometimes think that he's more about marketing metaphysics than he is about actual teaching sometimes. That's yeah. Thank you, Rob, for the super chat. That is lovely. Have you? I'm not sure what. Let's see. Have you listened to Greg? Oh yes. Okay. There you go. Okay, I get that. Wow, we're kicking butt. Good job, Ian, on the depression. You don't need it. It's just fear run amok. Well, I'm glad you like the answer, Maria. I'm that's why I do these live streams so I can talk to people directly. Hello. You are quite welcome, Joni. Well, I'm glad you like that addiction. I'm really trying to catch up here. Can you tell how far back I am? Um, I'm so Joni. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you You're getting comfort from this, and your husband can get comfort from it too, because it is his faith that'll heal him, and all he has to do is really believe. And if you go over to my other channel, there's a video called Jeshua's Healing Method, where I talk about how the faith is actually healing, and you'll see it's really a good reinforcement video. How to get a veteran out of fear, one day at a time. It is going to be one day at a time. The veterans have had so many traumatic events that it's literally about building trust again. Trust that the world is a safe place when they've been told it's not, when they've been put in such dangerous situations, and they've seen these traumatic, scary events, like my friend Holly with the tree coming through her house. And it literally is a matter of developing trust, and trust is developed by results over time. So you have to just start showing them it's safe by just laughing, joking with them, giving them a positive, easy sensation in life. And the more you can be that expression of that love and that expression of that joy and that laughter, then they feel it and they experience it. And that's really the gist of the whole expression of healing is coming back to that feeling of that joy and that laughter and that love, because that is healing. As I said earlier, all ailment comes from some fear, and perfect love drives out fear, according to the book of John, and God is love. So you go there lovingly, you're delivering God, you're expressing God, and that drives out their fear. But they have, because of their traumatic events, they have to see it over time, and they have to let that trust build again. And what's another word for trust? Faith. They have to build their faith again. And that's really what it comes down to. If you want to help them, make them joyful. Go find things to make them laugh. Make them feel like it's just safe and okay. And the more you do that, the more they can believe it. I'm going to start to wind down here, guys, because we're going way over here. So let me just jump down and see if I can grab. Well, thank you for another super chat there. Let me see. How do you find fear again? Fear is an emotional reaction to a future event that may or may not happen, with you focused on a negative outcome. And if you want it to be even broken down even further, fear is just negatively focused uncertainty. Gotta jump down, jump down, jump down. And pizza tonight. There you go. Pizza. I'm going to go way down here. All right, guys. I'm going to start to wrap it up here. I want to thank you again for what you've done for Holly. That was overwhelming for both of us to see how you all came out and doubled what we had originally planned to collect for her. I also want to say something I said at the beginning for those of you guys that came in late. If you're looking for a spiritual community where you can just sit in your living room, have amazing conversations about any spirituality you want to talk about, Marcy right here in the chat board, Spirit Made Me Do It, every Wednesday night has this Patreon where people from all over the country and all over the world, if they want to come, will just they come in and they open up the floor, and Marcy does readings, and every so often a big bald guy shows up occasionally too. So if you're looking for a great community where you can go express your spirituality and explore your spirituality, I highly recommend going over and joining her Patreon page. Other than that, my friends, this has been a lovely, lovely evening. I'm going to finish this little bit of decaf coffee in my thing over here. And so you guys have a great night. I'm sorry I wasn't able to get to all the questions tonight, but it's just, I can't hit them all, but we can give it a shot. So I'll be back on for another live stream in 2 weeks. I'm now doing these bi-weekly so that I can have a Friday night now and again. And thank you guys. You guys have a great night, and I will talk to you soon. See ya. Bye. If I can get this thing to turn off. Thank you for joining us at the Live Loving live stream. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and visit us at johnofnew.com.